Do we want this guy dead, or do we want him alive?
We very much want him alive, and the reason is we need to figure out if through interrogation if there are any foreign links or other members of the cell. So even though we've seen, unfortunately, 2 security officials, one at MIT and a transportation official wounded or killed, the tensions will be high. Law enforcement will want this guy. We have to basically use restraint, though, because it is incredibly valuable to get him alive.
When you look, Chad, at the coordinated effort, and we've really tried, folks here at Bloomberg, not to be inflammatory about speculation and all the rest of it, are you willing at this time to call this a domestic or international terrorist event? From where I sit, Chad, I can't make that call.
I think we can't make the call whether it's linked right now to international, but what I think is safe to say, it's most certainly a terrorist event. And I think the initial reluctance to call it that was not warranted. I mean, there was plenty of indication to justify calling it a terrorist event. But as we saw, whether it's Oklahoma City or whether it's 9/11, the motivation here, irrespective of the cause, it is terrorism.
Chad, we don't know anything about the suspects beyond the photos released. We don't know the name of the man who died in the hospital. You've looked at these photos as well. What do you see, and what kind of assessments can you make?
Well, I think a couple points. Number one, 2 individuals so far. The fact that these individuals, when they engaged law enforcement, used explosives in addition to weapons suggests that they certainly had the ability to produce other low-grade devices. Second point, though, is we're dealing with a B team. This is not the A team. If you look at everything from how the devices were constructed to the way that they were detonated, this looks to be a B team player. If it was an A team player, they would have detonated the devices right at the maximum time of media coverage, maximum density of human positioning. They probably would have fled the area. And the fact that they actually hung around in the perimeter gave us a tremendous advantage in tightening the noose around them. So these look like B team players that we're going to find out were somehow domestically radicalized, but most certainly terrorists.
A B team player, what does that mean then about the kind of support that they've been given?
Well, if you look at, again, the devices themselves that we found, the pressure cooker is kind of what I'll call your 1.0 device. You can see it in Inspire magazine and build a bomb in the kitchen of your mom article. And the bottom line there is what it suggests is, again, these are very simple devices to do. If these were more sophisticated terrorists, what we would see is advanced techniques to construct a device, detonate the device. And I think the other thing we would say is this: it does draw to everyone's attention that these kinds of things can happen, and they will likely happen with a greater degree of frequency than we've seen over the last 12 years.